lose time. Beyond time and space, a pleasure forever. I look for your face. Beyond time and space, forever. We're lost in pleasure.
Hey everybody, we are picking up where we left off on episode 2. Welcome to episode 3 of the Colin Dangaard Show. My name is Jared Williams, and without further ado, may I present to you the man, the legend, Colin Dangaard.
And as I was saying,
Yes. I think you left off at Wig Freak.
Yes.
And we're talking about we're talking about sex, sexuality. Let's go.
well, when I was a kid living in the bush, a teenager, sap was rising, of course, and I was seeing all these beautiful babes on magazines from America, and
Your
I
sap-
thought,
your
that's
sap was-
where I'm going, right there. I'm going to go with those babes.
Your sap
Any-
was rising? What does it mean when your sap is rising? What does that mean? Honestly.
Well, it was I often thought it was a nightmare, but I was a shipwreck. I woke up clutching the mast, but there you go.
Oh my God.
Well, anyhow, it was a wonderful, wonderful thing when I finally did get to Hollywood, and I finally did get to go with all the stars and just have a good time.
Yeah.
And I did very well at it. I had my own talk show, and that rocked on. And
What was the name of your talk show again?
yeah, On View with Colin Dangaard. And it was,
Oh, right. You did that for like
yeah,
a lot of years, right?
Yeah, several years.
Yeah.
And of course, I got a lot of recognition, and I got and I got very well paid for it. And I ended up then I got divorced, of course. Well, you'd have to get divorced because
Divorce, of course.
yes, because babes were everywhere, and I couldn't knock that back, could I? No, you know what I mean. I'm from the bush.
I'm sure that wasn't the only reason, but maybe a great advantage was
yes,
that there was
right.
babes everywhere.
Yeah, right. So it was very good. So anyhow, I paid the wife off. She moves out, and I kept the house and started filling it up with lovelies who just came by. And I thought, well, this is great. You know, I'm having a very, very good time.
Yeah.
And I do interviews, and I've got a column that's running in 35 countries and 120 publications, and
No big deal.
and
Just-
every day checks are arriving in the mail, and I'm not short of money, and I'm sure of spending it. I'm having a good time. Put a whole bunch of horses in my backyard, and down in Seadrift Cove on Malibu. And,
Oh, Seadrift Cove, yeah.
Yes, and it was had a great place down there, and so I started having lovelies come along, and I'd have one stay over that night, and she'd leave, and I'd have another one come in the morning, and then I'd have a lunch drive on, and an afternoon encounter.
A lunch drive on, and then an afternoon encounter.
It was very good. I was looking back. I'm quite ashamed of my behaviour, but
Okay.
I have to say it was very, very enjoyable at the time.
Well, you're young, right?
Yes, I was young.
Yeah.
And as I said, sap was rising. So it was just had a great time. And then, but it did get a bit difficult to manage because I did have to make a living. I did have to produce a column every week.
Right.
1,000 words and send it out to all these countries.
Yeah.
And in those days, it was wonderful. He just wrote a column and went to the Xerox machine and made 150 copies, sent it out to 150 people in the mail, publications all around the world who publish my stuff, and it just get published, and it was so easy. I just couldn't believe it. This is pre-internet, of course.
And this gave you room for your lifestyle.
Oh yeah, for my lifestyle, it was great. So, but to manage my lifestyle, I advertised in the Variety, actually, the trade magazine, as a successful Hollywood writer looking for a secretary to manage his affairs.
A secretary.
To manage his affairs.
To manage your affairs.
I thought I was being quite cute there, but anyway.
I thought that was really cute. Yeah.
So I had.
That's cute.
So I had many applications for it, and one of them was a particularly nice lady, and I made a rush for her, and she gave me the big bounce and said,
Okay.
no, she says, if I'm going to be a secretary, there's not going to be any of that happening. And I says, well, I got a very special job here. I have all these babes, and you know, I need some organisation here. Somebody who can just say, well, who am I having lunch with today? Who am I having dinner with?
Right.
Who am I doing this with? So her job was to schedule my babes, and so she got this right. Women being women, of course, they leave things behind, don't they? So she had all these shoe boxes, and if somebody left something, she put, oh, that's Jennifer. So she put in a Jennifer box, and this is Elizabeth. She put whatever Elizabeth left behind.
Did she ever get those mixed up?
No, well, that was her job, not to get them mixed up. And if
And if she did, that's it. Fired. No, I'm just kidding.
and if Jennifer left a bra hanging over the bedpost, well, guess what? When Jennifer came back, the same bra was hanging over the same bedpost, so it had a continuity.
Oh, I see. So the continuity helped for them to not be like too aware of each other.
But I was very upfront about. I said, look, I'm dating whoever I can, frankly, and this was also pre-disease, so it was. There didn't seem to be any diseases around.
Pre-COVID or pre?
No, pre-sexual diseases. So there didn't seem to be a lot of that around at the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, it was really
God,
good.
what a
It
relief.
was a great time.
That must have been.
This was in the 70s, early 70s.
So you weren't feeling the burn as much as maybe
No,
people
no.
these days. If you're feeling the burn out there, go to your local doctor and get some antibiotics.
Yes,
Please.
right. Yes.
Don't let it linger forever until you give it to somebody else.
Because
For God's sakes.
an arm could drop off, or a foot could drop off, anything could drop off. So, anyhow, I was having a great time, and now my love life was scheduled, and it was just so manageable now. And but of course I had to keep firing, didn't I? I had to keep on deck.
Oh, yeah.
So I ran on the beach every day and took vitamins and did push-ups and did all that stuff, and then I thought, well, I gotta stay. You know, I can't just. I got to be ready for my next woman. Like,
So you mean like staying in shape?
staying in shape?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did make a few discoveries on this sexual marathon,
Sexual marathon.
which went for about 10 years, by the way.
Self-discoveries?
Yeah, self-discovery. No, sexual discoveries.
Ooh,
I
okay,
discovered-
okay. I want to hear
you know,
about this.
People said to me,
Yeah.
well, how could you keep a hard on all the time like that? And I says, well,
Yeah.
without taking any drugs or anything like that.
Right.
I never took any Viagra or nothing. I just,
Okay.
but I got in charge of my position,
Okay.
and so I just wouldn't ejaculate. Keep the ammo. That's the key.
Keep the ammo. That's the key.
Yes.
So you're holding back.
Yes. Yeah. But
Some people call that edging. Or
Yeah, well,
I don't know if that's what it
yeah, well, whatever it was, but I tell you, it worked, you know. And
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
I got very good at getting my ladies off, and they all got off, and we had a great time, and I got off when I wanted to get off, you know. But
Right,
it was a
right.
good time.
Yeah, you did.
And we rode horses and went diving and did all kind of everything. There was always adventure involved as well.
Yeah, I think that adventure adds a lot to
Yeah.
the sexual energy.
Yeah, well,
Right?
it is. Without adventure, there's no energy, and without energy, there's no sex drive. Really,
Fair.
they're all connected.
Fair.
And,
yeah.
But I had one of at the time I was very widely syndicated and had one of the best pickup lines I think you could ever have.
Okay, let's hear it.
I quickly developed. I'd go to a nice posh Hollywood party, and I'd see somebody that was quite fetching on the eye, and I'd go up and I'd just say to her, I'd say, you're quite beautiful. She'd say, why, thank you. I say, have you been to Paris? They go, Paris? Paris, France? Yes. Is there another Paris? Yes. No, I have never been to Paris, France. I said, do you have a passport? And I say, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, a limousine will pick you up on Friday, and you're going to Paris, France. I'll see you at the airport. Okay.
Oh my God.
And they'd say, well, I don't even know you. I said, here's my card. Check me out.
Yeah.
There's no Google in those days, but you could check somebody out pretty good still.
Right.
And I
Right.
said, just go and call up call up the National Enquirer and ask them if they know who I am.
Yeah, just say like, hey, does this guy work here? They're like, we can't do this without this guy. And if he sent you a limousine and he wants to take you to France, then he's going to.
Yes, exactly. So,
Click. All right, Colin, hi. Remember me?
so it was really wonderful. I had a good time, and I always tried to give my ladies a good time as well, because giving them a good time gave me a good time.
Well, it sounds like you were able to give a good time like multiple times a day if you wanted to.
If I wanted to, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, well,
I
I was packing ammo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just a bit of self-discipline, if you would.
Of course.
So
yeah.
that's,
And I guess there's that, like, if you don't use it, you lose it kind of thing. There's a lot of people out there that like abstain too much, I think, right?
Yes.
And then it starts to fall back, and then all of a sudden it's not as easy
well,
to just bring back the monster.
Yeah, well, I did some sex research, and I discovered that for a man to reproduce testosterone after an ejection takes about between 2 and 3 weeks.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
To get packed up again.
Okay.
So what if you don't fire the ammo? You still have it.
You still have it.
Yes,
Yep.
right. So
that's right.
That's the whole trick right there. That's the whole key.
Fantastic.
And women have a different situation, but I like romance as well. I love women. I think women are just creatures of wonder, and they don't have to. They can be fat, they can be skinny, they can be ugly. It doesn't matter. They're still women. And they're just beautiful creatures, and I enjoy.
I agree. I think that women, when you combine adventure and romance, and you're keeping your body great, and all these things combined, and also like doing nice things, that all works really well. It's like a great combination, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like to write poetry, and I'd write poems.
You're a charmer.
Oh yeah.
Now, did you have them falling in love with you sometimes, and like you were like, okay, so maybe it's getting, I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, it was, and one of the girls was Linda, who I would eventually marry.
The love of your life.
Love of my life.
Right.
And she was, she said to me one day, she said, why don't we get a little more serious? I know you date other women and all that. And I says, yeah. She said, well, could we get a little more serious? I says, yeah, we could. And that'd be nice. But I said, I just can't be a one-woman man. I'm not of that. I said, I'm like the bull let loose in the paddock with all the heifers. Is he going to just stick with one heifer? No. I want to get all the heifers. I have a very heavy drive. That's what I want to do. And I think it's a natural thing for men to do.
So total transparency?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I didn't lie to anybody. And so...
I don't think people get that these days. I think that they either hide it or they pretend like they're monogamous, and then because there are always people getting caught cheating left and right. Why can't they just be open and honest, be like, hey, this is where I'm at right now?
But I said to Linda when we were having this early discussion, I said, no, I said, if you want to be monogamous, don't get tangled up with me, because I'm not that guy, okay?
Right.
And I said, you should have, I said, I'm going to have, if I see a woman I want to be with, I'm going to be with her, because I want to be with her.
Right.
Now, whether it goes anywhere, I don't know, but I want to be with her. And that's that. I said, I have men friends too, but I'm particularly attracted to women, so that's that. And so I says, if you get tangled up with me, well, you must know that I'll never, ever be faithful, ever. Not even close. I can't.
What did she say?
Well, she thought about that for once. She says, that's a pretty heavy trip.
Yeah.
And I says, well, it's an honest trip. I could lie to you and tell you, yeah, I'm going to be faithful, but I couldn't. I couldn't be faithful for the next 2 weeks.
I love it. I love it.
How could I, what am I going to say? I'm going to be, I said, I'm very, very attracted to you, so I have to be honest with you. I'm being very honest with you.
Okay.
And anyhow, I said, life is short. We could have a great time. I fly to Europe every every second week, and you could come with me there, and I'm flying around the world, and I'm staying in the world's best hotels, and I have expense accounts up to gazoo, and we can live like kings and just have a very good time. But I said, I can't be monogamous. And she thought for that for a while, and she said, well, okay. She said, yeah, I guess I could get used to that. But she says, I just have one question. I said, what's that? She said, could I do the same? Could I have boyfriends? I said, most certainly you could. I said, yes.
Yeah.
You'd have every freedom I have.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that because a lot of guys don't they try to say it's all right for me, but not for you.
Not for you. And I said, no. And so that was the basis of a relationship, and she moved in, and I would eventually marry her. But we got married for other reasons, really, that, I was accumulating quite a bit of wealth, and one way or another, I think, well, what if I die? Well, anybody, some more direct member of my family could get it. So I thought, well, I probably should get married for that reason, but still have the same openness about it.
Right.
And we had the best marriage of any marriage I know. She had boyfriends, I had girlfriends. She wouldn't have any of us all jumping in the rack together. She didn't like that idea.
So she was opposed to you joining in on your thing with other girls.
No, she says, you have your thing with your girls, I'll have my thing with my guys, okay?
And she did.
And she
right?
did. And
so it works.
And we'd all get together and have dinner. Or we'd go to parties, and it was always funny, I'd say.
The dinner was afterwards, right?
Yeah. But we'd go to parties, and I'd say, this is my wife, Linda. This is my girlfriend, Joni. This is Linda's boyfriend, Harry, and that's Harry's other girlfriend, Margaret, and we're all friends. I'd say, wow, that's a lot of information.
That's lot of information. I want to look up what percentage of people are monogamous in this country, just out of curiosity, or maybe just like what percentage of human beings. They say that only 17% of people on average are successfully monogamous. That's based on divorce rates and whatever Google says. I don't know if you trust Google, whatever Google says. But so a lot more people believe that they are than that actually are.
Yeah, way more. And also, marriage itself is a bit of a it's a bit of a disaster, really. Your chances of your first
my marriage was a disaster.
But the chance of your first marriage failing is 98%. Would you buy a car where I said the chances of this breaking down are 98%? You say, I don't want that car. What do I want that for?
100% I would.
Or
A Ford?
Or somebody was selling me a horse, and they said, great horse, but it's only good for about 98% of its life.
Because people want to believe that it will work. It's a fairy tale.
It's a fairy tale, yeah.
It's Disney programming.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But but they say as the number of marriages you have increases, so does the likelihood they will last longer. And I think that's because you get a bit more mature.
Of course.
I got married first when I was like 21. That's ridiculous.
How many times were you married?
3.
3? I didn't even know that. I thought 1 or 2. I should have known better. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, it was
Okay, 3. So that you were really young. You said 21.
Yeah, 21.
Okay.
And it's it was a good run, a good haul.
How long was that one for?
Well, I was married to my first wife for about 12 years, which seems to be a cut-off point. And then,
but a really good run. Mine only lasted 5 years. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I just got to the point where I just wanted other women, and she was not into that.
Fair.
So I said, that's fair enough. You can't have people do what they do. So then I went flying off and started having a very good time, and then I lived with a couple of women. I lived with another one for quite a while, but no, that wasn't an actual marriage, so that doesn't count. So there's only 2 marriages I've had, actual marriages, and then I ended up marrying Linda after we'd been together for about 15 years. And,
Wait, you were with Linda for 15 years before you guys got married?
Yeah, before we got married.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, but when you got married, when we just got together, I was just running around the world having a good time. Monday I must be in Rome, Thursday I must be in Paris. Look out! Oh, there's a big tower out there. Yes, I am in Paris. I recognise that big old tower over there. I mean that's what I did. I just travelled on aeroplanes and bird dogged movie stars and got good interviews. And stuff.
You whatted the movie stars?
Bird dogged them.
You bird dogged them? So if you keep watching our show, and we hope that you do, we're going to have a list of Colinisms, and we're going to add bird dogged,
Bird dogged.
and we're going to add nymphets, and wig freaks, and more. We're just going to keep building that list for you. We'll put it on the bottom of our
celebrities
YouTube.
for me were. I never wanted to get close to them because I considered them to be stalks of corn in the field to be harvested.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But
You're such a tabloid guy.
Oh, I was hopeless. I was absolutely hopeless. I was just
Bird dog are you?
Yeah, I was. I just got the story, no matter what.
No matter what you had to do. I love it.
And
That's what you got to do.
Thank goodness for tape recorders. I've always had tape recorders. Everywhere I went, I was wired for sound. So it was wonderful. You could be at a party and you'd just go up to Charles Bronson.
Right.
Say, how you doing, Charlie? Yeah, I'm all right. Who are you? Oh, I'm just hanging around here. Yeah. So you join the party, get some chatter going.
Yeah.
And pretty soon he'd start talking. I said, yeah, I saw you in a couple of those movies. You're not that tough, are you, really? He said, oh, it's all an act, isn't it? I said, it's a pretty good act. He'd start talking. And so you'd end up talking. He'd end up talking to me on and off for, say, 20 minutes. Then I go out in my car, pull the tape out of my tape recorder that I had in my pocket.
Uh-huh.
And then I'd got a telephone. Oh, this telephone was an amazing thing. I was one of the first in Los Angeles to have a phone in their car.
Right,
First
right.
citizens, I told you about that.
Yeah, you were telling us, yeah.
So I'd be able to tape. I'd be able to transcribe the tape while I'm sitting in my Jeep Wagoneer. And,
Well, this actor's like, wait a minute, who was that? That was Colin Dangaard? Shit. Where is he? He's not at his car, is he? Oh, God, this is going to be in the paper tomorrow. I can't believe I got drunk and told him that I'm cheating on my wife. Oh, my God, it's going to be in the front page. And it was. Shit like that would happen.
Lots of people said that.
Yeah. And now you know how he got so rich and famous and had all the girls in Malibu and beyond the world and around the world.
It's amazing what people will tell you when you're a reporter. I'm always astounded. If I was being interviewed, I wouldn't reveal half the things that a lot of people just revealed.
Right.
And they just reveal it. And, you have to
Yeah.
you have to work it and, move along a little. But people will eventually tell you what it is that you want to know, which is their deepest, darkest secrets. And if you work
I was gonna mention that Allison Janney, that is on a red carpet I was doing. I was like, so how are you enjoying Toronto Film Festival? And she goes, well, honestly, I don't really get to see any films. All I have to do is stuff like this and it's go, and get asked the same questions over and over again. No one really asks me how I'm doing, but I'm just fine. I just wish I could go to a film festival and see films. And I was like, okay. Thank you so much, Allison Janney, one of the greatest actors that's ever lived. But you're right; they do open up, and
it's. I remember I'd always managed to get photographs of me with them somewhere along. But I remember talking with John Wayne. I became quite friendly with John Wayne, and he liked me because in those days I could take a drink at 2 or 10, 15, no trouble at all.
You could also make or break somebody,
Yeah,
right?
right,
If they're on your good side and they're
Yeah,
like,
right.
they wanted to have their picture with you. If they're like,
Yeah,
okay,
right.
if I want to get a
Yeah.
picture with Colin Dangaard and
Yeah.
have some drinks with him, so he's going to say something amazing about me.
Yeah, but when I was on the set with John Wayne, the producers, the director always hated it because he'd be sitting in his trailer talking to me, and we'd be drinking, and he'd come out.
In the trailer? Oh, the director was pissed.
And it'd be halfway conked, you know. So anyhow, but the celebrities themselves they were just doing a job, like I was doing a job,
Right.
and and I made a small fortune bird dogging Elizabeth Taylor around the world, especially when she's breaking up with Richard.
Right.
I'd follow her to Mexico, follow her everywhere, and just. You know,
She's like, darling, I can't get rid of you. You're everywhere I go.
but actually, she was the person who derailed my whole career, very subliminally.
Good old Liz.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
on a plane from Zurich to London, and I got on the plane because she was on the plane, and that was easy to do. Just pay off the hostie and pay off some more hostie and get up, get up in first class.
I'm gonna pay off the hostie next time I go to to Casa Madera. That's how I'm gonna get in.
Yeah, so I'm up in first class,
Yeah.
and Elizabeth is sitting just across the aisle from me, right there. I'm thinking this is good proximity.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks over, and a look of horror comes on her face that I'm on the same plane. And I just written a big story about her and Richard breaking up and getting back together.
Oh, so she hated you.
Oh, she hated me.
You-
and I
She's like, that's my worst enemy right there. I wonder what I'm gonna say, but no, not your worst enemy.
And
I
she
don't know.
said, and after a while, when they got up to 30,000 feet, she moved over, left a space there, and said, "Sit here." I thought, "Oh, this is good." So I go and sit down, and she says, "Turn off your tape recorder." So I turn off my tape recorder, and she says, "Turn off the one in your briefcase too."
Oh shit!
I said, "Oh, right, okay, all right." So I got no tape recorder, and she says, "Yes." She says, "I want to tell you something." She says, "You're quite a nice guy. You're quite a nice man," she said in a lovely British accent.
Mm-hmm.
"What I don't understand is how you can write such vile stuff about people. Half it's not even true. You just go on hearsay." I said, "Well, I try to get the facts right. That's why I have tape recorders." And she says,
Clearly.
"Yeah, well," she says, "you should do something sensible with your life. Something," she says, "you're quite charming, really, but," she says, "you're wasting your life." She says, "I suspect you're quite intelligent too, but you're wasting that. All you do is write trash about people." I said, "Well, that's what I am. I'm a journalist." She said, "Why are you a trash journalist?" She says, "Why don't..."
It was deep.
She said, "What have you actually done in your life that was something?" I says, "You write stories about people who've done things and then try and destroy them by revealing sensitive stuff about them."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, that's just being a journalist, I guess." And she said, "Well, it's a bad choice of life." She says, "What have you actually done? Have you done anything?
Like, what have you created?
Yeah, have you designed something? Have you made something? Have you..." And I said, "Well, I broke a few horses in my day." It was getting nowhere. So
For a few hearts.
so she said, so we started chatting a bit. And
Yeah.
we chatted quite a bit. And I got to know her a bit. And then I got off the plane in London, and I thought, you know, what have I done? Have I created anything other than just writing more stuff about people who did create something?
Mm-hmm.
Did I write a great novel? No. Did I write a great play? No. Did I invent something? No. I haven't done anything. So I thought, she's quite right. I haven't done anything. If I was being interviewed, I'd be the worst interviewer in the world because I'd have nothing to boast about.
Right. Right.
Other than writing about other people and their achievements.
Right.
So I thought to myself, that's it. I'm going to quit all that Hollywood stuff. No more. Going to stop. So
Was that a slow walk through the airport as you were having this?
no, I actually thought about it in my jacuzzi after a couple of beers. That made it a bit better.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. So anyhow, I just decided that's it. And Linda was actually walking by the jacuzzi,
Oh, okay.
and I said, "Linda, got some news for you. I'm done with this Hollywood stuff." She says, "I don't think you are." She says, "That's ridiculous." She says, "You're such a big part of Hollywood." I said, "Yeah, but I don't like this anymore because it's not real, and it's not. I should have some other talents.
Right. Yeah.
Don't know what they are, but that's it. I don't know what they are. Why don't I know what they are? Because I haven't done anything else." So she said, "Well, what do you think you're going to do?" I said, "I have no idea." Now, isn't that exciting?
Uh-huh.
That's unbelievably exciting. I'm going off to the yonder. I said, I feel like one of those old guys in those sailing ships years ago when they set off in their sailing ships and went across the ocean. They didn't know if it was going to be a big waterfall or what it was. It was going to be flat. They thought the earth was flat.
Yeah.
So I felt, wow, this is really exhilarating. That I had no idea what I was going to do. None.
And did she buy it, or was she like, did that bitch Elizabeth say something to you?
No, I didn't mention Elizabeth to her. I just,
So she didn't even ask about
no,
that.
she didn't
Okay.
ask about it. But Elizabeth's words were ringing in my ears,
Yeah.
and so I'm quite happy about my decision. That's it.
Yeah.
Done with Hollywood.
Done. Just
gonna-
like that.
I'm
Cold
gonna- I'm
cold
gonna-
turkey.
I'm going to go and Linda says, "Well, that's crazy. You're going to lose this beautiful big house. You're going to lose all this stuff you got." I said, "It's only stuff. Anyhow, when I do something again, I'll make it even bigger." She said, "What's that going to be?" I said, "I have no idea."
She's looking around the house. She's like, "Are we gonna have to downsize? Are we gonna have to? Am I gonna have to sell? Please."
That's about what the situation was.
But I feel like she kind of trusted you, though.
Yeah, she did.
You know?
She did. So she said, "Well, it's your life,
Yeah.
and whatever you do, just I'll go along with it." She said, "I'll go along with it."
Love this lady.
Yes.
Love this lady.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
And then there was some time after we had the conversation about that I could never be monogamous and think
Oh,
about it.
okay. So I see where that
Yeah,
started
so
there.
things we-
Yeah.
So, but anyhow, and she says, "Well, what are you going to do?" I said, "I don't know." And I was so excited about the fact that I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea.
So you had Well, you had no idea, or you had ideas, but you hadn't decided.
No, I had no idea.
Oh, okay.
None.
Okay.
But then I got a call from Hollywood, Warner Brothers, and they said, "Well, we have a movie down in Australia. Could you go down and cover it for us?"
Down under.
And I says, "Yeah, I'll go. Australia, yeah, I'll go, because I want to go down and see my parents." And
Yeah, you're like, I know the place. I happen to know the place
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, I've
to
made this
survive in
big
the
decision.
jungle.
I'm done with Hollywood. I'm
Right.
Get out of here.
Right.
So I go down. I said, "Yeah, I'll go down and cover the movie." And what's the name of the movie? And they said, "Oh, it's a horse movie." I said, "Oh, that's good. I like horses." So I didn't dwell on it anymore, but I go down the set of
Yeah.
the movie.
What was it called?
No, I'll tell you.
Okay. I'm getting excited.
So
Right.
yeah, so I go down. I plan. I'm going to be on the set for about 20 minutes, maybe an hour,
Uh-huh.
just enough to put an appearance and make it look like I'm going to do something. I'll write some sort of puff piece about the movie, and that'll be that. I've done my duty, and I'll be out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the director says to me, he says, "Can I show you some of the dailies we shot yesterday?" And I says, "Yeah, sure." So we go in the projector room, and he runs the dailies from yesterday's shoot. And there's a close-up of an Australian stock saddle, one of these.
Ah.
And I said, why did you shoot that? Huh. And he says, "Well, we're going to show how Australians ride horses." You know, he says they ride like the Cossacks used to ride, hell bent for glory and just hard and fast, and they're chasing the world's wildest cattle on the
Hell
world.
bent for glory.
Yeah, on the roughest country on earth.
Indeed.
I says, tell me about it. I said, I'm from a cattle property in North Queensland on my mother's side. And I says, I spent a lot of time galloping horses through the bush chasing stupid feral cattle.
Right.
And it was hell bent for glory.
For sure.
You crashed all the time. And it was...
and didn't you actually make an Australian saddle
yes,
once?
Well, I said to my dad once,
Yeah.
I said, I want a saddle. And he says, well, so does everybody. And I said, well,
Make one.
Well, can you buy one for me? He said, of course not. He said, any idiot can make a saddle. You go and make your own. And
Wow.
I was then 14.
Yeah. So when you're looking at the saddle, you're like, I've made one of those,
Yeah.
and I know what this is all about.
Yeah.
So you put that in your back pocket.
Yes, but years. This is now years and years later.
Right.
And I'm looking at that saddle and I says, are you going to show this in the movie? And he says, of course we are. It's all about how Australians ride. That's what they ride in.
Light bulb.
I said, tell me about it. I was right there. A light bulb goes off.
Bing. Yeah.
That's my new career. I'm selling Australian stock saddles.
Yes.
You know, I just right there. I said, that's it.
Yeah.
I know about this.
Perfect.
And so I on my way back, I stopped at Len Hill and Sons, Sid Hill and Sons, and talked to old Len Hill. He recognised me coming through the door because I'd been on television and a lot. I'd be sending stuff to Darren Hinch and his show and
Okay.
and Channel 5 and Channel 6 down there. And so I said, I said, he says, are we on television? I said, no. I said, I've just come to buy some saddles. Oh, you want some saddles? I says, yeah. He says, you got horses? I says, yeah, I've got a bunch of horses. And he says, how many saddles you want? I says, well, I want 6 and I want one in every size and I want to have a look at them. And he says, 6? What are you going to do with them? I said, I'm going to sell them.
Where is this after the movie was shot?
No, this is while the movie was being shot.
Oh,
I
okay.
went from the set of the movie up to Len Hill and Sons.
Okay, so as you're shooting the movie, you're already starting to do a business
Yes.
deal. Oh, of course you are. Okay, this is totally in line with you, the Dangaard philosophy of get it done,
Get it done.
get it going.
So
yeah.
I go down, I go up to the hill, and I said, yeah, I'm going to sell these saddles. And he says, well, I've seen you on TV. He says, you're quite amusing. You should stay there. He says, you get on you get selling saddles. He says, you'll go broke. He says, you know, many people have tried to get the Yanks out of their tanks, as he put them, the Americans out of their big Western saddles.
Ooh.
And he says,
Get the Yanks out of their tanks?
yeah, he says, you'll never do it. He
Yikes.
says,
It's kind of true, though.
You'll never get the Americans out of their Western saddles. You won't. He says, and I says, yeah, well, I just think I will. And I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, Man from Snowy River.
Right. Yeah.
I know that. I just feel so strongly this movie's going to be a hit. So I get back to Malibu, and I start writing and getting stills from the movie and start organizing,
Preparing the marketing material.
material, and marketing. But this time, I'm not going to be selling the movie as much as I'm selling myself and my saddle.
Yourself and your saddle. Yeah, exactly.
The theme was ride like the man from Snowy River, but you're going to need this saddle to do it. You can't do it in any other saddle.
Now I know what that means.
Yes.
Ride like the man from Snowy River,
Yes.
and you're going to need a saddle like this.
So I just rode that movie. The movie was a big hit amongst horse people, and
Wasn't it the second highest grossing movie outside of
Black Beauty.
Black Beauty,
Yes.
which is the number one?
Yes, second highest horse movie ever shot, and I just suspected that that's what it was going to be. Had
Yeah.
no reason to suspect it, but I was certainly on that saddle.
Right,
And then
right.
when the movie came out, I took out full-page ads in all the horse magazines, Ride Like the Man from Snowy River, and I went from being dead broke, losing the house down in Malibu, to the first 6 months of selling that saddle, I sold $500,000 worth of saddles in the first 6 months, and by the end of the year, I was selling $1 million worth of saddles.
Wow.
And half of that was mine in clear profit.
So you had a 50% margin on
Oh
that.
yeah, easy.
So you had a great relationship with
yeah.
your.
So things
Yeah.
went just through the roof. And I thought, this is great.
Brilliant marketing. Brilliant.
I've hit the big time again.
Yeah.
And I had done it very well as a syndicated columnist and as a television host and all that. And I achieved it there, but nowhere near like the big rush of actual money from salary. And then I became the man from Snowy River.
Right.
Which I didn't deny. Yeah, that's me. Hello, that's me.
Yeah.
So it was a big ride, and
Wow.
then we moved. Then he came up and bought this big property here, and
Which is where we are right now.
yeah, right.
This is the grand fireplace. We've had so many Christmases and Thanksgivings in this room.
So it's
a big
been a wonderful place.
How many acres is the property here?
It's 3 acres.
Okay.
It's in Malibu, so it's pretty. It's but it's just a place I like to live, and I got at the moment I'm down to like 9 horses, so and sometimes I've got 15 here, and I just do. That's what I do is ride horses and sell saddles, and now I'm writing books again.
Right.
I wrote a book called Talking with Horses.
Okay.
Because that's what I've always done is talked with horses.
Is that the one that you're writing right now, or is that available online?
No, it's available already online. Talking with Horses, you can get it. I sell it on my own website, colindangaard.com. colindangaard.com.
Yep. Make sure you check out, because you have all kinds of stuff that people can buy his stuff, because it's probably the best made you'll ever find, the highest quality and everything.
The Australian Stock Saddle Company.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I sell just thousands of these, and it's great. But I specialize in fitting saddles to horses, and I helped develop a gauge to measure the backs of horses, so we could make the underside of the saddle reflect the top side of the horse and have a perfect fit like we have for shoes. And
makes sense.
That was a big breakthrough.
So customization,
customizing the saddles, and now it was very large. But then I had 15 people working for me. But then Linda got dementia.
Oh wow!
And she was the brains of the operation. I'm just a guy who could ride a horse and build a saddle.
They say that sometimes behind every great man is sometimes an even greater woman. You agree with that, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. She was great.
She was really the brains.
She was the brains, and
wow.
And she was so beautiful and so generous, and she thought I was quite off the wall. But as soon as she realized, I said to her very early in our relationship.
Well, she liked her wigs, right? So she was a little off the wall too.
She had wigs, and she had outfits for every wig. She had closets. She had a walk-in closet that she'd get exhausted walking to the end of her closets.
What girl wouldn't love that, right, ladies?
She was wonderful, and it's so great to have known a great woman. So many guys that never happens to.
Yeah, a lot of people don't find love.
Yeah, they don't find it, but I did, and I found she's the woman against I measure all women's sense,
Right.
But I had a great horse called Tower, and he was the horse I measured all other horses against. So that's how it is,
Yeah.
You get something great, and that becomes the standard for your greatness in that particular whatever it is. Yeah. But then I just so I sat by her bedside for 4 years when she got ill, and I was just broken-hearted. I couldn't understand it.
Was that the length of the length of it was 4 years?
That's when she got bedridden.
Oh, from the point of being bedridden to wow.
To death was 4 years, but she had been ill 4 years before that, and I'd lead her around and do all that.
As you know, I'm no stranger to dementia and Parkinson's. My mom got diagnosed at 50. Yeah. She's 63 now, and she's in hospice and memory care. So, but Alzheimer's is different than Parkinson's and dementia, or was it dementia specifically?
Dementia.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It doesn't affect your It doesn't affect your speech, but it does indeed affect your cognizance. Putting things together is a difficult task.
Right.
You can talk, but doesn't make any sense. So that's a big problem with it. But I lost everything except the house we're sitting in. I lost the business, lost it all, but I didn't care. I was with Linda, and I fed her. I cooked for her 3 times a day, and changed the bed 4 times a day, and changed her 3 times a day, and she was incontinent for 5 years.
I was here for part of that.
Yeah, you were.
I saw
Yeah,
that.
You came here.
Yeah.
And, it was very interesting to observe. I didn't care about anything else except her. And I knew I was going broke and things were finished and have to sell a house. And then I went shopping for a van. I thought, well, I'll put her in this van and we'll just travel around, me and her in the van, and I'll look after her and fed her with a spoon and all that stuff. And then I just... But she died, and and way back in the beginning, when I told her, I said I'd never be faithful. I said, but I'll tell you one thing, I'll be with you forever. And when you die,
That's
when you're
beautiful.
dying, I'll hold your hand and tell you I love you. And that's exactly what I did. And I just held her hand, told her I loved her. She cried and I cried, and God took her then. And
Wow.
it was over.
Wow.
And I lost everything, but it didn't matter, because what I'd gained was enormous. I'd gained the feeling of real love, and nothing else matters. If you experience that, wealth doesn't matter. But I stumbled around and cried for 2 months straight. Everybody who works here says, yeah, we remember you, you just wouldn't stop crying. And I says, yeah, but... And then one day I just said, that's it. I'm done with this. Linda wouldn't be impressed with me whimpering around like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I got off my bike and got back to the company I'd been ripped off from, and went to work with a vengeance. And it's not what it was, but it's okay. And I'm
Wow.
enjoying life again, and I'm getting back writing books again, and I'm writing a trilogy, Talking with Horses, and I'm also doing my own biography.
Okay.
It's called Hell for Leather, and it's because my life was pretty interesting when I look at it. Not being able to speak, and then learning to speak by talking to a horse, and living in the bush covered in mud, living like a savage.
Right.
What you'd think was a savage, but it wasn't. It was quite elegant.
Mm-hmm.
I'd wake up and see the sun rising through the trees, and go to sleep at night and see the moon rising through the trees, and hear all the birds, and every birds sound different at different times of the day. Different birds talk
Mm-hmm.
during the day. I knew what all the birds were talking, and it was, and the crocodiles would just snort there along the bank and look at those, and the snakes were a little bit of a concern. They were the snake called a taipan, which is the deadliest snake in the world. If it bites you, you've got 3 minutes to live, and
Yeah, you've told us about that.
and they're
Yeah.
all over the place. So-
Definitely a really interesting life. Like, just throughout, even just the first few episodes already, I'm so happy that you're doing this with your memoir. Is it your memoir?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
What's it called again?
It's called Hell for Leather.
How?
Hell for Leather.
A helpful letter. Okay.
No, Hell for Leather.
Okay.
Hell for Leather.
Helpful letter. I
It's,
see.
It's Hell for Leather. It's when we were riding horses hard in the bush. How fast? Were you going fast? I was going hell for leather.
I see.
And that's where the saying comes from.
I
might
love it.
change it, but anyhow, that's the working title.
Yeah.
And it's it's quite interesting to go back and to realize that. And my father was very wise to kick me out, and which is one of the great things he did. And I know he loved me, but he made a big decision, obviously. And
Well, when we talk about motivation, when we talk about when you watch our podcast and you want to be motivated, you really want to have progress, we also talk about kind of throwing yourself out there, sink or swim sometimes.
yes, you got to.
So you access that part of your brain, right?
Yeah, we have two parts of our brain. We got the left side of our brain comes up with ideas and all sorts of stuff. The right side of the brain carries out what you want. So there's a lot of activity there, and there's a center brain which does some sort of refereeing, I guess. And I got to know a lot about the brain because that's what Linda died of a brain situation.
Right.
Dementia is the collapse of the brain or the covering of the whole brain with tangles, and then the brain runs on electricity and it just gets short-circuited, and so nothing can work because the electricity is not being delivered to the right part of your body when it needs to be.
Right.
It's just a mess, total mess. So it was. I just love the idea of being able to achieve no matter what, because progress or success is forward motion as far as I'm concerned. You go forward no matter what. Just keep going forward. Now you'll stumble and fall, but you learn from a stumble and you learn from a fall. You get up and go again.
Yeah.
And now you're better prepared because you've realised you made a mistake back there, but you're not going to do that again because you recognise that mistake. Now you see it again. Oh, I'm not going there again. Okay, and you just keep going. And we're just human beings are extraordinary for our capacity to learn and develop and shape. We talked about. I'm not a religious person at all, but I do believe in God. That's for damn sure. Whatever God is. I don't know. I don't see God as a person. I see God as a force. The force that created this universe.
Yeah, I do too.
All other universes. And you can visualize it as a person if that's how you want to, however you visualize it. We are extraordinary creatures. He created us. We didn't come from apes. I don't go with any of that stuff.
Okay.
We didn't swing from trees. We didn't do any of that. There are Neanderthals, which we were cousins to, but the difference between us and Neanderthals is way different, and the difference between Neanderthals and apes is different too. So they're different species. We're our own species.
I've always wondered about that, actually, Colin, because I would think that we would have seen them evolve in the amount of time that we have been looking at them. They haven't changed as far back as we can think about.
Apes are still apes.
Even in the slightest bit. Yeah. So I wonder, hey, I don't know.
Yeah, but
I really
it's
don't know.
They say we've been on Earth 5 million years. I don't know, but the horse has been around 50 million years. So we've been around only 5.
And have horses evolved into?
Yes, horses is definitely an evolution with the horse.
Okay.
They came out of the swamp. They came someplace. But there's an evolution with every species except us. There's no evolution with us. There's fantasies about it, that we came from apes, that we came from this, they came from that. We were put here. I'm totally convinced of that.
I've always thought that we were put here by alien force, not force, but aliens. But I just feel like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Prometheus, but it's basically this concept of this alien guy warrior comes down to Earth, and he drops some blood or something in the river, and it kind of goes through, and it kind of creates this human being that's kind of an extension of the Neanderthals or whatever, they're already there, but it's got this strength, and it's got this cognitive, this brain power that is beyond of any other creature on that planet. So, I thought about that, but what do you think?
I think we were put here. I think in our entirety we were put here by, I don't know who put us here. But
I think it's aliens.
It could be aliens. But,
yeah.
But we don't know what's out there. We have no idea what's out there.
There's easily there are things beyond our comprehension, right?
Yeah.
Because, there's other animals on this earth that can't even comprehend what we are. we can't comprehend what something else out there is
Yeah.
either, and that's
No,
okay.
we-
But people think they can.
No, the universe goes on and on and on.
We're so small.
There's actually no end to it. Look up there, and there's no end. Well, we don't have the conceptual, intellectual capacity to visualize something that doesn't have an end.
Right.
We can't. So you look up there, and there's got to be an end to it up because we're looking at blue sky. Oh,
Right.
that blue's the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. That's just the beginning.
Yeah.
But you can go up there as far as you want, and we've gone up there to the moon and back, and we've gone past it. But that's only just our tiny little universe.
Mm-hmm.
There are thousands of universes out there.
What's your opinion on life in the universe? Life like us, or even beyond us?
Oh yeah, I think there's lots of life out there. In other galaxies.
I agree.
And we only know this one, and we've done some penetration in it, but not a lot. But then again, we don't even know what's in the Earth. Do you realize that we've only penetrated less than 2% of the into the Earth? 2% of its shell. That's all we've penetrated.
Yeah.
There could be a whole city down in the middle of this planet.
I think there is.
We don't know about that, do we?
I think there is.
Yeah, well, there's
Of something.
There's lots down there.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be lots down there, and all the activity that we know about is just really totally on the surface, and we've just only recently reached the deepest part of the ocean, but that's just a sliver of where the Earth is. What about deep down?
Do you think this concept frightens people?
Well, I think it's a concept that again, it's difficult for our limited intellectual capacity to dance around, because we like things to be in order. We like square boxes. We like
We like
to be able to
easy, we like
see an
convenient,
end. We like-
predictable.
we like predictability.
Yeah.
We like safety. We like all these things. So if you start talking about things that are unsafe and you don't know where it's going.
Otherworldly. Yeah.
Which is why I love to ride horses. You get on a horse, 1,000 years from now, they'll be talking about this. They'll say, those people back in 2000, before that, they actually rode animals. And imagine, say, 5,000 years from now, who will be the people on this earth? And they'll be talking about these early savages. They'll be talking about me.
Yeah, they'll be talking about us.
That they rode animals. You know that?
Yeah, we're animal riding savages here to the people of the future. Like, ew, gross.
Yeah, but
they lived longer than, you know what I mean, right? Like, he
Yeah.
probably lived long. I think that people are starting to get, like, afraid of germs and afraid of dirt and afraid of animals. And little do they know, we need all of that to be like you one day.
you get bacteria.
Right, good bacteria, exactly.
I find it very funny. People say, "Well, you can't eat that; it fell on the floor or something." I've eaten iguanas and snakes and stuff, half cooked, blood running down my face, ripping heads off. I mean, so what would it's nothing. We have such constitutions that you can.
People are wimps. I'm sorry. Most people are wimps. Don't be wimpy.
Yeah.
Bite the head off of something and live your life to the fullest.
So when I first went, one of my first forays as a journalist traveling around the world, I left. I worked in Sydney and worked in New Zealand, and then I decided to go to Hong Kong. Actually, I decided to go to Vancouver, but got off the boat in Hong Kong, and got drunk and missed the boat. My luggage went to Vancouver, but I didn't. I stayed in Hong Kong recovering from a very bad hangover. But anyhow, I went and got a job on the Hong Kong Star, and it was all Chinese people, and they just looked at me like I was some sort of wimp, He's another Guaylo wimp,
Right.
White guy wimp,
Yeah.
And so I became the editor. It was a guy, Graham Jenkins. He was a funny guy. from London, Englishman. And he said to me, when a guy called Steve Dunleavy was running the edit, and you might remember Steve Dunleavy from New York, that very famous columnist in New York Post.
Yeah.
And Steve and I were great friends in Hong Kong, and he was then the editor. But he'd as usual, Steve was wherever Steve went, there was a long line of transgressions, which got him into a lot of trouble. So he got kicked out of what was then a British Crown colony, and so I took over the job, and I'm like 21 years old, and I'm going, this is, and they think I'm a real idiot, that I'm just some sort of kid. So I gathered everybody for a lunch, and I had one of my workers go out to the market and bring back live snakes. So we're going to have snakes. And they thought this was going to be a big delicacy.
Oh, shit. Don't tell me you bite the head off a snake like
so
Ozzy Osbourne did with the bat. You hear it?
So we had.
Oh, God, here we go.
They're sitting around.
I'm always bracing my chair when I talk to Colin. I'm like,
we're sitting around. We're sitting around a table. We've all got a hot bowl with a little flame under it. And we each got an attendant by our side, and he's got a.
You mean like one of those Korean barbecue things?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's got, and we had a snake, a handler beside us, and you'd pick out your snake. He's running around the cage. I want that one. So he'd pick it out, and he's got a ring on his finger with a scalpel under it, and he'd just run around and skin the snake right there. And you drop it in the hot bowl. That's your bowl, and that'll be the snake bowl. And so he comes around to me, and I'm trying to make an impression on these Chinese who think I'm just another white wimp, and
right.
They doesn't know anything about Chinese culture, and no. So I said, I'll have that one there, and he picked it up, and before he got the scalpel, I says, let me handle it, because he says,
you're scaring me. You're like,
you want to? And everybody's looking at me, and I says, oh. What a beautiful snake. Oh.
ah!
Oh. Isn't that good? And there's blood running down my hand from this snake.
I want to see this. I wish I could have.
After that,
could have fly on the wall. Really.
After that, I could walk on water. I was God.
Oh, I'm sure you were there. Oh, you were one of them at that point. Yes.
Watch that guy. Watch him.
Yeah.
Watch him. You know. So I was like, and Graham Jenkins called me in. He says, I don't know what you've done, but he says, these guys are terrified of you. And he said, and I see them looking at you, and they're looking out the side of their eyes. What you going to do next?
So that's a lesson learned in getting dirty and go out and be confident and do something crazy because, right?
Yeah.
You know, people are just play it way too safe. And then they wonder why, oh God, things aren't working in my life right now. You have to separate yourself from everybody else, right? You have to how do you make yourself different? You have a stack of resumes. Well, I don't know, make a resume on a skateboard and roll it into the office if you want to work for a skating company, right?
Do something unusual.
Yeah. Or bite the head off a snake.
Yeah. That was a little bit over the top.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I told you the story of my first story in America was going on the streets of Miami and asking him to sign the Declaration of Independence I'd written the first.
I thought you were going to say, you remember when we were talking about going down the streets of Miami and I was bleep every hot girl. It only took 2 or 3 days before you had a reputation on Ocean Boulevard. But you're talking about that.
Yeah,
but
you got to take chances in life. You know, I've taken chances every time I get. I'm riding horses in these hills here all the time, 3 or 4 times a week. And I'm looking always for the steepest, baddest hill. And I say to myself, that looks bad. And I ride with a friend of mine, Ed Wagner, Dr. Ed Wagner.
Oh, yeah, we want to have him on the show, I think.
Oh, we're going to get him on the show.
Yeah, we're going to get him on the show.
And Ed will say to me, and he's very, very careful sort of guy. He's very articulate. and that's why he's a great healer.
He might be
And,
an
and,
alien.
and he'd say to me, "Is this dangerous?" I said, "Probably. Should we be doing it?" Yeah.
Yeah. But exactly, not the exact risk, but that you're taking a risk when you're looking for the most dangerous thing to do, and you know what it can do to you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I have. I walked out.
But you don't care.
I had one bad wreck where I knew something went really, really wrong, and my first cognizant thought was I'm looking up at this perfect stranger, and I said, "Who are you?" And he says, "I'm the emergency room doctor." I says, "Am I in a hospital?"
Wait, was that when you fell off the horse last time?
Yeah.
When was that?
That was 2 years ago.
That was only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So the next thing you knew, you're looking up at the doctor.
Yeah, and he said, and I said, "What am I doing?" He says, "You're in hospital."
Like,
I says, "Well, I'm leaving. Get me out of here." He says, "No, you're not." He said, every organ in your body has been crushed." He says, "For some reason, you have no broken bones." He said, I'm yet to figure that out.
Are you sure you're not an alien, Colin? Wait a minute here. What do y'all think? I'm going to start doing some research here. I don't know. I might need a blood sample. You're not going to let me get a blood sample, right? Is that why you left the hospital? You didn't want them to take your blood and figure out if you're an alien?
I said, my girlfriend Mara, I called her on the phone and said, "Mara, get your ass over here and get me out of here. I'm leaving the hospital right now."
What did the doctors say?
He says, "No, you're not. You can't. I says, "Well, watch me." I just got up and I just left. And then, but I got home and.
Would you pull all the stuff out like in the movie?
Yeah, I did. I had an IV and I took the rip
And we're like,
out.
but wait, Colin, you're naked. You need to. I don't need that. Where's the loincloth?
had a white shirt.
Grab a little rag from a little cart thing.
I walked out with my gown on.
With the butt sticking out.
Left my pants or something. Yeah, it was really funny. But then I got home and I realized I was not well. So I lay down.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, I couldn't walk for 2 days. My brain was not working. I couldn't speak properly.
How scary. How scary that is, huh?
I was trying to grasp onto reality all the time.
Yeah.
And it took me about 4 or 5 days.
Sounds like my daily life.
And as soon as I got cognizant, I said to my friend Mickey, "Mickey, bring that backhoe up here."
That backhoe?
Yeah, he says, "What do you want a backhoe for?" I said, "I want to dig a hole." "How big's the hole you want?" I said, "Something."
I thought a backhoe is when you have a second or third girlfriend. Get that backhoe up here.
Backhoe, yeah.
My backhoe. Where's my backhoe?
My backup
Somebody
hoe.
please find my backhoe right now. Thank you.
That's a backup hoe.
Backup hoe. Backup hoe.
So
I need a backup hoe if
I said, "I
anybody's
want
available.
something deep enough to put a horse in."
Mm-hmm.
So I dug the hole, and that's where that horse went. So not
Oh, really?
Not taking any more chances with that horse.
Yeah.
It turned out he had.
We're going to go ahead and say that the horse suddenly died of natural causes. To any animal groups out there. That's honestly, as far as I understand, I can't confirm or deny that, but after it randomly, unfortunately died, you dug a hole for it. Yeah, okay.
I put him in a nice, pleasant place to go.
Okay,
And,
good. Yeah.
Right next to a few others.
Yeah.
So that was, I remember I was taking a girl riding. Take some.
I love how you laughed before you said it. You're like, I was like, taking a girl riding.
I was taking a girl riding, and she had a boyfriend with her and all. I said, "That's good.
Yeah.
So take you couple riding."
Mm-hmm.
I put her on a horse, and I said, "Now this is a nice old horse. So it's not going to run away with you, or do anything bad." And so she's walking along and over in the hills, in the Malibu hills here, and suddenly the boyfriend looks at me and says, "Colin, look back there. The horse is on the ground." And I turn around, and I trot on back there and jump off my horse, and the girl was standing there, and she's holding the reins, and she says, I says, "You okay?" And she says, "Yeah, I'm fine." She says, "But he doesn't look fine." And I know a dead horse when I see one.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
The horse just dropped dead?
Dropped dead.
What?
It was an old horse. So,
Wait, her boyfriend was on this horse?
No, she was on.
She was on the horse, and the horse just kind of was like, is this a slow thing when this happens?
Yeah, it just went down like this. And
Okay.
So, and I said to her, and she was.
If that happens to me, I hope it's slow. I hope I'm not just
says-
like
she
talking
says-
and then I'm like,
She says, "Is he dead?" And I says, "Well, let me explain that for you." And the moon was starting to rise. I said, "Look up there at that moon." She looks at me, looks at the horse, looks up at the moon. I says, "Now, if you look real carefully, you'll see some green up there behind that moon. Look at it real carefully." And that's this horse, Dragonfly is his name. You'll see Dragonfly. Look at him hauling ass right across that big green field up there.
oh, jeez.
And he's heading for some mares up there, and he's having a good time. Oh, he's left some baggage down here, but that's where he really is. Look at that.
She must have been like, oh my God.
She was. Then she got okay about it.
Well, that was kind of calming. I think the way that
Yeah.
you described it, I'd be like
No,
going
she-
from being like so sad that I fell off a dead horse
Ah.
to being so like nostalgic and
And
sentimental about
I
it.
said, he died here because this happened to be his favorite hill. He
Yeah.
loved this hill, and you were singing to him, which he was.
Yeah.
And I says, he just says, if I'm going to check out the planet, this is the perfect time. I'm on my favorite hill, and I have
Right.
this lovely girl singing me a song. Ah,
Oh, exactly.
what a beautiful thing.
I think that. Do you think that animals, they choose where they want to die?
They
Sometimes.
definitely do.
Okay.
Definitely do.
Yeah.
Definitely do.
Yeah.
You know, if you, I've been with a lot of animals who died, and every one of them has chosen their place.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to die in company, by the way. They want to die privately.
Mm-hmm.
And all my horses have died, except for that one. He just died of, I think, of a ambulism or something.
Aneurysm, yeah.
Aneurysm, heart attack or something.
Right.
So he dropped where he died. But other than that, I've had probably 30 horses who've died under my care.
Yeah.
And of old age or something, and every single one of them found a nice place, and they died there.
I actually experienced a horse die when I was a kid. I was walking this old lady's horse, Shoefly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and
Shoefly
she
and
was
Dragonfly. Wow.
they were both anxious. Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
She actually was like 90, and the horse was one of the oldest horses ever as well. So they were both ancient. But she paid me like I want to say $5 or $10, like which when you're like 13 years old and then, you know, in the late 90s and stuff, that was like $25 to walk a horse for like 30 or 40 minutes. So I was like, okay, I didn't feel the greatest about taking money from that poor old lady, but I was like, whatever, money's money, man. But the horse was so old, and I was thinking to myself, one of these days, Shoefly might just croak, you know, die, just like that. But she didn't, you know. It went on months and months. I was walking Shoefly, and then one day, it wasn't the greatest place to die, Colin. It was the arena, you know, and I was just walking her around the arena, and then I saw the old lady like slowly kind of like, you know, walking up the hill, and I'm like, oh, hi. And she's like, Shoefly, Shoefly. She was an old Russian lady. She's like, how's Shoefly? And I'm like, Shoefly's great. And then I hear, and I'm like, Shoefly? Shoefly. And she's like, oh, no. And then she came in, and she like was holding Shoefly and crying, and she stayed with Shoefly until the vet truck got up there and backed up and had the little crane thing that came around and picked up the horse. And they had spent, I mean, what's the oldest a horse can get to be?
Well, in actual years, 30, 35. There's horses that have reached 45, but a 30-year-old horse is equivalent to a 90-year-old person.
Okay. And then, so what do you call a male? What do you call a male baby horse again? Or is it the same as a female?
No, they're
baby?
foals.
Foals.
Colts.
Yeah. I think she had it from a baby, And she literally had it for like, because the horse was like 35, 6 years old.
Yeah, that's that's a 100-year-old person.
Okay.
But horses live longer under care today because they get better care.
Okay.
In the bush in Australia, where I was from, and I chased cattle around as a young kid.
Yeah.
And we were so hard and rough on horses. It was unbelievable.
So basically, she spent 35 years with this horse, and of course, she wanted to be with the horse until she couldn't anymore. It was it was so horrible to have to pull her away from it, because I was like, lady, go live the rest of your life. I don't know if you have like 3 days or 3 hours.
Yeah, right.
Based on shoe fly, anyway.
Well, the thing is, everything dies, including us. So
that's right.
Just part of death is a very important part
How
of
do
life.
how do you answer the question of why do so many people fear death, and why do so many people let the fear of death affect their daily life?
Well, it's a cultural thing, if you ask me. Americans are terrified of death as a subject. They don't want to talk about it.
I see that.
Like they're in total denial about it.
Yeah.
Whereas death is a beautiful thing. When my lovely wife Linda died, it was the most beautiful thing I ever saw, because it was like her spirit was leaving her body, and it was just so peaceful and nice to her.
Yeah.
She was not in any pain anymore. She was not. It was a calmness came over her face, and it was just beautiful. And now I wouldn't like to die. I'd like to die just the way she died. When I die, I hope it's like that. I hope it's not under
in a peaceful way,
I
of
hope
course.
It's not under some bad horse that's just half kicked my brains out and now rolling on top of me and taking a big dump on my face. You know? I could probably do without that.
No matter how sad or tragic or funny we are or he is, I could go from talking about death to laughing with you, Colin, in like 2 seconds. 2 seconds. But it is cultural, you're saying. So, like, Americans are like that. What are other cultures sort of?
Well, the Chinese, for example, they regard death as almost a point of celebration. You know,
like you're achieving this high rank.
You've achieved
Yeah.
what you've done with your life, and it's a big thing. And now your spirit is gone, but your legacy is here.
Yeah.
And it's more celebratory.
Even if it's with young people, like even if it's not old Jay.
Well, I think the young people is pretty tragic. Then there's a tragic hue to that.
Nobody wants that, right?
But you know, to be die. I like to die old and comfortable and telling a joke.
Amen.
Yeah,
I love that.
I mean, that'd be good.
Namaste. God bless that.
Yeah, I'll be telling a story about it, and I'll say, hey, note this down, will you?
Just don't do that on our show, okay?
But
I'm just kidding.
I remember talking about things dying. One of the most dramatic things that ever happened to me when I was a kid. I'm in the bush chasing wild cattle with a crazy guy called Fernley.
Yeah.
And he was just an old cranky old guy, and he thought I was a young whippersnapper who needed some sort of control. And he says,
You're still a young whippersnapper that needs some kind of control.
He says,
That's what I say.
He says, your problem is you got a go button, but you don't have a stop button. Okay.
Oh God, I've heard that before.
Yeah. So
like everyone that knows me has said
anyhow,
that. Everybody.
We're tracking these cattle, and we're trying to get this feral bull. So if we can control this bull, we can control the herd. So he says, well, there he is over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to get down here because he want to go down that rough country down there. We don't want him to go there. We want to cut him off here.
Right.
Then we chase him and exhaust him and jump off and cut off his horns and his balls in that order. And then it'll be fine.
His horns and his balls?
Yeah, that's how they do it. They don't rope them there in the bush because it's just disaster. You wouldn't do that. So anyhow, I'm a young whippersnapper, as he says. So I get up on this. I good fast horse here, and I chased that bull, and he says, yells out to me, not there, not there. And I let the bull go because I wanted to see where the bull's going. He's going to go down this ravine. So he goes down this ravine, so I go screaming after him, and I thought, yeah, I'll get him down here because he's got no place to go, and he gets down this ravine. And he runs down, so I go screaming down the miles, galloping down. And all of a sudden, everything goes very bad. I'm upside down, and horses kicking, and I look down the back look at the horse, and horses. Oh.
Was this your first big horse accident? You're saying?
Yeah,
or
the first big.
The first big one. Okay.
First big one. Yeah, when I'm a kid, and.
Horse crash, horse accident. I don't know what.
So I look down and there's white bones sticking out of this horse's back leg.
Oh, whoa.
So I go, Fernley, I think he's got a broken leg. And Fernley's up there. Old Fernley's rolling a cigarette. I can see that, he says. And I says,
what a character.
So he lights up his smoke and takes a drawer, and he says, what you got to do is cut its throat. So he goes with this. I says, I have to? He says, yeah. Well, I don't want to do that. He says, you should have thought that before you run him down that hill, you stupid idiot. Now get your pocket knife out and cut his throat. He'll thank you for it because he's in too much pain, and he'll never walk again, thanks to you, idiot.
Oh my God!
I had to.
So you had to do it.
I had to cut his throat. So and he said, and he's sitting up on his horse and he's smoking his cigarette, and he says, "One other thing, you idiot." He says, "Take the horse's head in your arm, stroke him nicely on the forehead, tell him he's a very good horse, and apologize for being such an idiot."
Were you like, all right, no, you're creepy and you're mean too.
Yeah, I thought he was mean.
Oh my God! Did you?
I cut the horse's throat,
but did you apologize and pet the horse's head?
I did.
You did.
I said, I'm sorry, horse.
Because otherwise, this guy may have like.
No, I was really upset about it.
Yeah.
And I said, because the gravity of the situation is now I've caused this horse to have a broken leg. I've caused to be the end of his life, just through my own idiocy and my inconsiderate bravado. I should have been like, okay, Fernley's right. I should be to take this with a word of caution, you know. I did that.
So you felt terrible. You wish you hadn't have done that, and then your punishment was to have to do something really gruesome.
Yeah, he wasn't going to help me. He said, "No, you do it. You're doing it."
That's learning a lesson right there.
You call the shots, mate. You finish it off, mate. That's what he said. So,
mate.
And I said,
it was giving me Godfather vibes, though. You know what I mean? Like with where the guy wakes up with the horse in the head in the bed, and he's like, "Ah!"
So I had to hold the old saddle up the hill, and he put the saddle on his neck, and I had to walk for about 15 miles back to where the yards were. But that did learn a lesson, and I must say, I've galloped down a lot of hills since then, probably 1,000 hills. There's not one of them that I galloped down that I didn't think of that time. Well, look at there. Is that going to be halfway okay?
So every time you think about it, and then maybe you say, "Nah, not this time."
Yeah. Sometimes I don't say, "No, it's too dangerous." Sometimes I start to think like that, but I'm thinking about that. I've thought about.
Yeah, you see a severed horse head in your arm, all of a sudden, go, "Nah, maybe not."
Yeah.
Not, and Dr. Ed, maybe not this time either. Or whatnot. But yeah, calculated risks, right?
Yeah.
I think we said that on Instagram, something about calculated risks.
You have to take risks in life, and I still take risks today, but I try and calculate them a little better and not just be an idiot about it, without taking away any of the challenge of, I steeplechased for many years, and that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
You gallop on a horse, flat gallop for 3 miles and 36 jumps, and and I've come off. I've walked off a few steeplechase courses in my life, and the horse flips over on the jump, and you hit the ground, and remember to stay down because there's other horses coming over, and you don't want to stand up because you get knocked down.
Yeah.
Whereas you're laying on the ground, the horse is going to jump over you. They're going to get around you. They don't want to step on you because you don't look like solid ground, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but there's a lot I've learned from horses.
Yeah.
Because they're very.
There's a lot people can learn from your life because we're only just getting started.
The big thing that is what's important is to have adventure in life. You shouldn't be sitting on the couch. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be, unless you're sitting on the couch thinking about how your next adventure is going to work,
Right.
plan it out or something. But you should scare. I like to scare myself to death every occasionally. Really have a big scare. Wow, that was pretty close. You know, mostly I have it with horses these days. But the other day I was thought to myself, I'm a whip cracker. I crack whips, and I'm pretty.
Oh yeah, newsflash. He also is a whip cracker, by the way.
And
We might talk about throwing knives next.
and knife throwers and spear. I'm a spear chucker. Pretty good spear chucker too, mate. Had a girlfriend once who said, "What can you really do really, really well?"
Uh-huh.
And I says, "Well, I can write a pretty good sentence, I believe." But I says, "You know what I'm really, really good at? I'm an amazing spear chucker." She says, "Give me a break." She says, "I've never dated."
But you did. You were like what, like 12 years old, and you made it out of wire or something like
yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, just
God,
it was.
covered in mud. So yes, I've seen you throw knives here. You're really good.
Yeah, I can throw a knife and an axe, and if it's got a blade on it, I can throw it.
I think you should play ping pong with producer Will after the show today because I want him to see how good you are. It's incredible, dude.
Well, I got reflexes.
Do you think when you play, I know that you have like this tree stump that you throw the knives into here at the ranch, but do you think people realize that you actually used to like kill animals like that way in order to survive?
Probably not, but because people here think, well, if you want to eat meat, you go to the supermarket and it's wrapped in plastic. You know, that's what. But there's you got to get used to killing things, and especially. But if you're going to eat them, well,
If you're gonna eat them, yeah.
if you're going to eat them, you got a bit of an excuse.
Don't go off killing things and not eating them. Okay.
No, but
You
that's one peculiarity
Nothing
of,
domestic. I'm
of
just kidding.
human beings is human beings are the only animals on the planet that kill each other and don't eat them.
I'm walking off this. I actually took my hat off. That is you're never going to see that happen again. So enjoy. Honestly, you're never going to see that happen again. Well, you're right. Oh, fuck.
No, it's true.
Jeez.
It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
It's true. But
Would it be better if they did kill each other and eat? Maybe we should just kill each other and eat each other. Make it better.
Think about it. If you had to eat what you kill,
Yeah.
you wouldn't kill anybody, would you? Because there's nobody. Well, I want to eat.
Well, unless you're Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, well,
Then you're like,
yeah, well, it might be a few.
I do like to kill somebody and eat them, their liver and whatever he
But
says.
when I was a kid, I had to reckon with this.
Yeah.
Because I'm covered all in mud. I'm out in the bush. I got a spear, and I want to eat, right?
Yeah.
And the animals got to see me as another animal. They were not so They were not so scared as if I walked up in a white shirt like this and, "How you doing, mate?" "Yeah, all right."
Yeah.
But if you just move stealthily.
So they'll run away or kill you.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
I didn't wear boots. I wanted my feet to be tough, and so I was barefoot all the time, and I'd just move quietly.
Yeah.
And then I'd noticed after a while, I got better at moving more quietly, and I noticed after a while that the wallaby would just sit there looking at me. He wasn't afraid of me, and I thought, oh,
Do
this
wallabies make a sound? Do they
No,
make,
they don't make a sound.
not like cats, or they're not.
No, just They don't make any sound at all. And then I got my spear, and he's looking at me with his big eyes, rolling his eyes. I'm going, this is breaking me up. I don't know how I can do this, but I'm hungry. I want to eat you, but I can't eat you alive. I'm going to have to kill you. So it was a bit of a challenge, you know. Had to get through that. It was not like it was
the
not
monotony.
like it was not like
The moral.
it was not like getting a fish because the fish is running around.
Well, because they're so cute. Yeah, well, fish are ugly.
Yeah, they're ugly.
You don't hear people like say like, "Oh my God, it's so beautiful. I couldn't." I mean, there's beautiful fish. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know.
I used to scuba dive a lot.
I don't think a lot of people have problems killing
But
fish.
I had the same trouble with scuba diving. I used to scuba dive a lot off the.
Oh, you used to do the underwater spear thing?
Yeah, spearing.
Well,
Yeah.
is that like a spear gun?
Spear
Yeah,
gun.
yeah.
Yeah, you can have what they
That's
call
awesome.
a wine sling, or you could
Yeah.
use just a rubber hose that you catch, and you hold it in your hand like this, and you've got the hose under your elbow,
Dude.
and then you let it go like that, and then it goes off.
Dude. Now that's fishing
that's
to
called
me.
the lion skin. But
Yeah.
I like to use a spear gun, which is pull back the wire,
Yeah.
and you've got a trigger on it.
I want to go underwater and do that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be on a boat getting seasick, you know, but you're trying to you're underwater, you're like going around, you see this cool fish, and you're like, "Phew." Yeah, I want to do
But
that.
also, that's you get to think about it too.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful sheep's head going like this, and he goes behind a boulder, and so you get on this side of the boulder, and you're on scuba, so you're like a fish too. And you got your gun loaded, and you know he's going to come out behind your boulder.
Your boulder.
You got your spear again. I used to think, well, God, I'm going to end this guy's life. But then I think, well, wait a minute, I want to eat him. Yeah. Am I that hungry? No. I could go to the supermarket and get some fish, but what's the difference between that fish and this fish?
Right.
Get over it. So
What do you think before we end for today? Like, there's still people really killing people like crazy. The Israeli-Palestine thing that just happened recently, where I think there's like 1,000 people dead on each side of this thing. Where, you know, I feel like Israel should have given Palestine an independent state a long time ago. It's like an open-air prison, whatnot. But it's so politically charged. And it's like any opinion that anybody has, it's almost like most people sort of have to have no opinion or kind of just be neutral because they don't want to have the repercussions. But then also there's the Russia-Ukraine thing. So basically what you're saying is like, if you're gonna kill each other, you have to eat each other. Or the rest of the world will. I don't know.
That'd fix it.
That'll fix it.
That'd certainly fix it.
Let's certainly figure out who the cannibals are.
Yes, right. It'll certainly fix it. But
really though.
But also you have to realize that men have been killing each other since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
We have been killing each other. We are the killer species. Forget killer whales. Killer whales. Yeah. They're nonsense.
And whatever aliens created us are like, oh shit, what have we done? Look at them, they're stupid, and they kill each other, and they don't even eat each other.
What's the matter with that lot?
What have we created? All right, forget it. Let them all kill each other. Bomb, a little bomb comes in. That was a bad idea. We have other planets. They don't think we do, but we do.
Well, it's a possibility, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I think we're an odd species like that. When you ponder what human beings are, it's just so amazing that we have the talents we have, the creativity we have, the endurance we have, and what we'll suffer through.
Yeah.
Our ability to suffer.
It's incredible.
And our ability to suffer anything.
So resilient.
Our resilience.
Yeah.
It's all that stuff. We are towering figures of incredibleness, but yet we are lethal.
Lethal.
That's strange.
And we should know that we have all of that and how incredible it is to be a human being. But then there's such utter disregard for human life and such utter disregard for what's going on. And when women and children are dying, you'd think that there would be more than just a handful of countries, more people around the world that would try to come together and be like, what can we all do about this? But people just only care about themselves and their pocketbook. I really think at the end of the day, people are willing to elect someone who may be a horrible person and may condone the suffering of others as long as it saves them gas money or saves them some taxes here and there. And I just think it's so sad because it's such a beautiful planet and we're such beautiful human beings.
It's pretty pragmatic, and
yeah,
we are the sum total of our own greed and our own consumption. Yeah. And Americans, for example, are the biggest consumers in the world. We consume 2/3 of everything in the world that's consumable.
Oh yeah, not even just the biggest consumers, but the biggest people.
Yeah, which we are getting bigger.
Yeah,
it's
the people are really out of shape and they consume all kinds of everything.
I always think of America though as being the front of the ship.
Okay.
The world is a ship going through whatever it's going through.
Yeah.
And there's lots of space on this ship. You could be in the steerage. Well, that maybe would be Bangladesh, or you could be in the center of it, and that could be, say, London.
Right.
Cool. I could be in the front of the ship, seeing the ship cut through,
right,
and breaking through, and going to new territory. And
we have to do that.
Yeah,
as Americans.
That's Americans. We are the front of the ship.
We have to do
that.
Not
the back. We're not the center.
Let's get it together, everybody. Honestly, let's get it together. Listen to Colin.
We can get it together.
Yeah.
We're powerful. America is the most powerful nation on earth. Always has been. We are the Roman Empire of our time. Unfortunately, we know the story of the Roman Empire and how it fell. Mm-hmm. It fell from the inside.
Right.
And this has all that danger of falling from the inside. Who's after Caesar? Caesar's in trouble.
Right.
He's in a state of peril.
Yeah.
And so is the Roman Empire, and that's us.
Right.
We've got what is the correction? I don't know. We've lost. I think one of the things is, like I keep saying, I'm not religious, but I think they've taken God out of everything, and I think that was a mistake. Mm-hmm. Not saying God's the religion God, but God is the creator of the earth, and we should give
the reminder of a higher power in things.
We should be reminded of a higher power.
I actually agree with that. Yeah.
And if you want to call it God, call this power God. Okay, fine. If it's a nice short word anyhow, and it's something we understand. Oh yeah, God. Yeah. Well, God's a big. It's a big word. So if we want to call it that, fine. But we've taken that out of it, and we are each of us very, very powerful people, very powerful human beings, and we're all together here on the planet, and we're all flying in the same direction. And sure, there's squabbles here and squabbles there, and unfortunately, some people down in the sea deck are killing each other. But you know, if you're up in the front of the ship, we got some rat bags here killing each other up in the front of the ship too. But it's not a pandemic. It's not
right.
It's not control. We still have law and order to some degree.
Thank God.
Yeah. Thank God. And
there's the word. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, Jared. Well, great chatting with you.
Always great chatting with you. I like how we had a little bit of intro music today. I want to thank Alan Stewart from User for letting us use that little cool musical intro. And I'm really excited for our next episodes. We're going to be having some really cool guests that we'll be talking about soon once we have them booked and we have everything arranged for it. So keep an eye out for my Instagram and for what's your Instagram again?
Colin Dangaard.
That's
Colin Dangaard.
and no one spells your last name the same way you do. So call at Colin Dangaard on Instagram. We'll make an update when we know what our guests are going to be. Right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And yeah.
You know, I want to the animal I'm closest to, of course, is the horse, and which I've got to understand quite a bit about. Don't know everything about the horse. Nobody ever will, but I know quite a bit about it, and I want to explore that with you too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
How we get power from the horse, and this is an old power. The Romans, when they were the biggest warriors in the world, the most feared warriors and the most successful warriors, they got all their strength from the horse.
Yeah,
Which is why they never rode they never put a saddle between their backside and the horse.
right. And that's something we'll talk about. We'll do. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is a whole episode about horses. So talk to your equestrian friends, anyone you know that loves horses. And if you do, and even if you don't, discover the power of what these magical animals can do on the next episode.
And also the power of being able to talk with them.
Talking to horses.
I'll show people how they can communicate with a horse mind to mind.
Yes.
Which is very interesting.
Yes, of course.
You and I communicate. We're using words, but I see you a lot, and a lot of times you don't exchange words at all. But I know what you're thinking. You know what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I grew up with horses all my life, but I really think that people need horses more than they realize. Isn't that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah. Because we run on electricity. The horse is like plugging into a generator.
Right.
A huge generator. Yeah. A horse is 6 times more physical mass than us, so it has an electrical field that's 30 feet. Our electrical field is about 9. So when we're
there you go.
30 feet from a horse, he's sensed our field. And
so basically you're either going to plug in if you get the opportunity, and it's not an opportunity that a lot of people have. It's kind of like a dying world. Horseback riding places have closed. Fitted saddles and the tech that you need to get on board has gotten extremely expensive because there's not enough volume out there. So you know what? Hopefully we could create a movement to get people back to being connected with nature and horses at the same time. There's nothing, in your opinion and in your experience, there's nothing more powerful, is there?
Nothing more powerful than a horse. I owe everything to the horse because I can speak. The horse showed me how to speak. So the horse has a thing to cure you of a lot of things, can fix you of a lot of things, because they have this electrical power that draws from the earth. The earth is what gives us power. Oh, yeah. We're into it, and they're our conduit to the earth.
Oh, yeah, and we're going to talk all about it.
Okay, mate. All right.
So we can't wait to see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For there was time, beyond time and space, a pleasure, forever. I look for your face, beyond time and space.